It's time for The Pet Show with America's favorite pet expert, Warren Eckstein. Warren is the author of How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want and How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want. He's here to answer all your pet and animal questions. And now, Warren Eckstein.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to The Pet Show. Is your Vizsla a bit too vibrant? Does your rescued Siamese kitten have you totally stumped? Are your Great Danes acting not so great? Well, if you love animals, care about wildlife and the environment, and want to understand your dog's or cat's behavior as well as they get you, if you're confused about your dog or cat or just want to improve their lifestyle, you know what to do. Stay tuned because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show. America's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch, bring those furry little buddies with you, folks, because it is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everybody. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, really respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to join me on the Evergrowing Pet Show family, if you have questions or comments about your dog or cat's behavior, they're jumping, they're humping, they're digging, they're scratching, they look at the litter box and stick their nose at you, I'm not using that. Got a new cat, the old cat doesn't get along with the new cat, you get the idea. That's what we do here every week on The Pet Show and have for the last 43 years, is helping people resolve any issues they may be having with their dog or cat, or any issues their dog or cat may be having with them. As always, plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. And if you happen to be new to the show, welcome. Or regular, it doesn't make any difference. Everyone that calls into the show, most of you know by now, everyone that calls into the Pet Show today and actually gets to talk to me live on the air will get a fabulous gift. Don't get excited. You know by now it's not for you. A fabulous gift for your dog or cat. And again, if you're new, it's not like I'm giving away biscuits here. Thanks to my great sponsors, many of the items I give away are worth $20, $30, $40, even $50. So if you have a question about your dog or cat's behavior, just want to share a great story about a dog or cat that you adopted and rescued, because every time you share a story like that, it encourages other people to do it. One of the questions I asked this week on my Facebook page, which by the way you should follow, facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk, what I said was, do you remember, what are the fondest memories of your childhood pet? What are your fondest memories of your childhood pet? So if you want to share that with me as well, and you get through, I will still send you a great gift. So plenty of time for your calls, lots of amazing stuff to give away. The phone number here at The Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA. That's 866-870-KRLA. Or if you're more of a numbers person, that's 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. As I said, lots of time for your questions and comments, lots of great stuff to give away as well. Have a busy show today. As you know by now, I put all these topics together. Sometimes I don't get to them all because, as I said, your questions, your stories, your comments are always the most important part of The Pet Show. That's why I open the show every week by saying, welcome to the Pet Show family. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, want to share a great story, 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. If you want to watch the show live on YouTube, you can do that as well. If you want to see the mug behind the voice, you can. I don't know why you would, but you can. And I'll take some questions from YouTube as well. This is my YouTube channel. We're broadcasting live there right now. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. YouTube.com/Warren Eckstein. Okay, let me tell you what I have planned for today's show. This is what I have planned. Doesn't mean I'm going to get to it all, but this is what I have planned. Does your dog bark nonstop? You know they do. When you walk him and he sees another dog, so you take him out for a walk, he sees another dog and ruff, 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 ruff. It's kind of your dog's form, for you parents out there, of a toddler's tantrum. Yeah, Warren said that. Kind of your dog's form of a toddler tantrum. They just may be suffering with something behaviorists call, here's a word that a lot of you don't hear. Most trainers don't even use this word, but I'm going to share this combination of words with you because it's something I've dealt with for many, many years. It's called barrier frustration. Barrier frustration. I'll explain coming up a little bit later. I see Jerome has a question about that right off the bat. Also coming up on today's show, cats and kittens love what I call the infamous paw press. They press against you with their paw. But what does it really, really mean? Here that they press against you because it got the mother's milk flowing. But there's more to it than that. We're going to take a close look at the paw press from your cat coming up a little bit later. And also, this is a question I get on the show all the time. It's usually with puppies, but it also occurs with a lot of dogs that have been rescued or adopted. Is it normal for a puppy or a dog to pee when they get excited? I said it, to pee when they get excited. When company comes over, you open the door, people come in, and the dog pees. Well, let me do this. I'm going to give you the difference. It's not just all one answer. The difference between excitement peeing and submissive peeing. Now that's good radio coming up on the Pet Show. So if you have a dog that gets nervous or anxious and dribbles a little bit when people come over, we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show as well. Again, that number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And also coming up on today's show, if that wasn't enough, a recent study placed dogs into 10 types of personalities. Does your dog fit into one of those categories? Maybe not. We'll talk about that as well coming up. As always, plenty of time to answer all of your pet and animal questions. Lots of pretty amazing stuff to give away. So, if your pet happens to be jumping, chewing, scratching, confused about the litter box, not housebroken, doesn't get along with other dogs, hates some people, and he literally believes that if he sees it, it's his job to hump it, give me a call, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. This week, I lost a very, very close friend of mine back on Long Island, someone I've known for, 40-some-odd years, maybe even longer than that, since the day I got out of the service. Also an ex-veteran, a good friend of mine, Don, passed away. And you want to talk to people when you're going through a grieving period, but sometimes you want to keep stuff to yourself. So I sat down with Molly and Willie, and I gave them some of my really deep personal feelings, kind of my secrets. So that prompted the question today. Do you tell your dog or cat's secrets? If they learn how to text, boy, am I in big trouble. But do you tell your dog or cat secrets? Give me a call. Let me know. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Coming up in the second hour, something I don't do often, but I'm speaking to a good friend of mine, Paul DeRigo. If you don't know Paul DeRigo is involved with Citizens for Humane Los Angeles. And this past week, they had a Zoom call with Alex Villanueva. The ex-sheriff of the county of Los Angeles. And the whole premise was to find out his feelings and he's running for a city council. So they wanted to find out how he felt about the shelters, the system, what's wrong, what's right, what's going on between the city and the county. And he's pretty well knowledgeable at this. So Paul will be joining us around 12:30 in the second hour. And I'll talk to Paul a little bit. It was I was on with Radio America, so I didn't get to listen directly live, but I was able to hear a rebroadcast of it. It was pretty informative. So if you're involved with the humane movement, the rescue movement, and you deal with the city shelters, you deal with the county shelters, perhaps you're not going to want to miss my conversation with Paul coming up in the second hour as well. Again, the number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Now, before I get to the calls, let me ask you guys a question. I got this helicopter flying over me right now. Here's my question. Why would people, one of the hottest weeks we've had here in Southern California, why am I still seeing people running with their dogs, biking with their dogs in the heat of the day? Why am I seeing dogs running along the beach with their tongues hanging out? The shelter system here in Southern California, feel free. I mean, that's what separates me. I don't have a political agenda here on the Pet Show. Oh, maybe I do a little bit. But the bottom line is if you have a complaint or a question about the shelter, you want to give me a call, I'll run that by Paul a little bit later on the show as well. And Paul, by the way, is involved with Chula, which is...
And we've had her for about 9 months from the pound. And when I take her for a walk, she's kind of really aggressive to other dogs. And it's she kind of gets along with the small dogs, but the big ones is the ones that she...
Yeah, now, from what I understand, Jerome, you just told me that the dog came from a shelter. Thank you. Bless you for taking that dog and adopting him. But at the shelter, I don't know if you've ever spent a lot of time in the shelter, but the noise level at shelters is absolutely insane. It drives the dogs crazy. It makes them more assertive and aggressive. The other dogs are barking. His reaction is to bark back. So when you take him for a walk, and I don't know the dog's background, do you have any background where he came from before he wound up at the shelter?
No, we have nothing on that.
Okay, so we don't know what his background was. Very often, though, the dog, and I'm going to talk about this later, it's something called barrier frustration. Very often, the dog that's pulling on his leash seems really aggressive towards other dogs, is really not aggressive towards other dogs. What it is that he's confined and can't get to the other dogs, and that frustration causes exactly what you're doing is reinforcing that behavior. Or an Eckstein, so you can check that out as well. Lucy Pet Food, you've heard me talk about Lucy. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away. The phone number 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Later in today's show, the second hour, I'll be talking to a friend of mine, Paul DeRigo from Chula, and he had an incredible Zoom call this week with Alex Villanueva, easy for me to say, who's running, by the way, for a county supervisor. And it was an interesting conversation about his proposals and his plans and the way he visualizes this city and shelter, city shelter and the county shelter. So we're gonna have Paul follow on the second hour. We'll talk about that. Great time to call me, though. I do have a couple of open lines. Pretty rare here on the Pet Show. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. Now, this week, a brand new report came out saying that our dog has one of those personalities. Give me a call. Let me know. And if you get through, I will send you a great gift. Not for you. You know I'm going to send it for your dog. 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Plenty of time for your calls. Lots of great stuff to give away as well. And the secrets. I want to hear from you guys. I don't know what's the story, but don't you tell your dogs and cats secrets? I tell my dogs and cats secrets. I don't have no cats at the moment, but I tell them secrets all the time. Also, if I have time later, it's a busy show today, but if I have time later, as you know, I took a couple of days off and I flew to Portland, Oregon with my lovely wife, Denise. We rented a car in Portland and drove down the Oregon coast, which was absolutely beautiful. I posted some pictures this week. So I took a jet boat up the Rogue River in Oregon. And while on this jet boat, unbelievable. The amount of animals that I saw, just incredible. Number one, and I posted this, and maybe I'll post it again, some amazing pictures of bald eagles sitting in the tree. Now, I've seen bald eagles, and I've been with them in rehab centers, and they're beautiful. But to see one in the wild on top of a tree on the Rogue River in Oregon, what an amazing experience. And then as we're driving down, we stopped in another small town. I forget the names of all these little towns, besides they're too hard for me to think about anyway. And so there was at least, and I'm not exaggerating, at least 75 to 80 sea lions on a dock in a fishing village, just kind of hanging out there. Boy, do they know where to hang out. And I said to Denise, you know what, I'm going to grab a cup of coffee and go hang out with the sea lions. And I kind of set up there, away from them, of course. And I posted that as well. We had a great conversation. I know that may sound eccentric to some people, but I had a great conversation with sea lions. Anyone else out there have great conversations with animals besides me? Give me a call. Let me know. 866-870-KRLA. But I did post some pictures because I am the most untechnical guy in the world. You know, I have a sign on my desk that says, if it does not pee, I don't deal with it. I'm going to have my lovely assistant, Julie, try to put together a bunch of photos together, an album of some of the photos we took. It was just incredible for me to see, and kind of reminded me, maybe a little homesick, you know, growing up on the East Coast and having gone to college in Maine for a while. The East Coast has those rocky shores, and the Oregon coast and Northern California coast, the same thing. Just incredible. And by the way, I think I was in the most northern city in California. I flew out of Arcadia. You should see this airport, by the way. One plane flies in, turns around, and one plane flies out after the guy in the front with the rubber band gets the rotor on the plane going. Anyway, incredible trip. I'll talk more about it. I'm not a vacation person, but I just absolutely adored this trip because there were so many animals involved. We'll talk about that. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. So how many people out there have a dog or a puppy that when people come over, he pees? An older dog, maybe you adopted a dog from a rescue or shelter, and God bless you for doing that. But when people come over, there's a little anxiety and nerves, and the dog pees. Two different types. There's excitement peeing, and there's submissive peeing. Now, let me get technical. Let me put my college hat on. There's excitement urination and submissive urination. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Hopefully we'll have time to do that. Lots of great stuff coming up. And if you have one of those cats that's constantly taking its paws and going up and down on you, it means a lot more than just kneading. We'll talk about that as well. 866-870-KRLA. Let's go to, who's up next here? We're going to go to Georgia in Tela? I don't know what that town is. Hey, Georgia, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. I just want to jump in on what you were talking about with the where there's a barrier with the walking and affirm what you were saying. I was taking care of a boxer hound mix recently, and she's kind of seemingly the terror to the neighborhood when the owner has her. But when I have her, I ask other people if they would be willing to let us walk side by side with them. They're going at it across the road from each other or even on the same side of the sidewalk until I ask them if we can walk together and go the same path. And whenever someone cooperates with that, it works out beautifully every time. They'll just walk together. They chat and bark for a second.
Where?
Chamble, Shamley.
Where is that? That's in Southern California?
It's just outside of Atlanta.
Oh man, I got
It's
to
outside
learn.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, Atlanta. So you're calling from, I thought your name was Georgia. Your name is Tila. You're calling from Georgia. I am so
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah.
You know, it's not easy coming back from a vacation. Anyway, great call, by the way. So how many pets do you have and what kind?
Well, I take care of pets. I sold my home back in 2015, so I just go home to home and take care of people's pets. So I'm just in a different house all the time, sometimes a night, sometimes 3 weeks. Just depends, and I go state to state. So I'm in usually 2 or 3 different states, Alabama, Georgia, Texas. But I go pretty much anywhere and just take care of the needs as they arise, whether it's a 14, 18-year-old dog or a puppy or a dog that's really, really sick, or cat. It can be a cat or a snake, bird.
Tila, you're my kind of lady. What I'm going to do, you don't have a pet, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to send you a T-shirt that says "None of my friends walk upright." By the way, those T-shirts are available on my website. Hey, the number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Let me take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll get to Lisa, we'll get to Paul, we'll get to David. The number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Come on, guys. Am I the only one that tells my pet secrets? You got to. You know you've told your dog or cat secrets. Like you come home from work and you didn't get along with the boss and you say, you can't believe what that jerk said to me today. Do you tell secrets to your dogs and cats? Give me a call. 866-870-KRLA, or with any other questions, 866-870-5752. You know, from the company that only wants the best for your pets, NatureVet is launching a brand new product line called Scoopables. Scoopables are tiny little chews that solve a variety of pet issues and wellness issues. Scoopables are bursting with flavor and nutrition. You can scoop them up into your pet's food. You can give them by hand. I'm telling you, they make a difference. Let me just give you an example of some of the Scoopables. There's many varieties. There's Scoopables quiet moments for calming your dog down. It has melatonin, great for storms, fireworks, travel, even grooming. There's Scoopables No Scoot. My dog Molly gets it every day. Molly has one of those anal glands that scoots on the ground all the time. Bottom line is, Scoopables. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. I got a laugh. One of my YouTube people just texted me. By the way, nice to hear about Molly scooting her butt on the floor just as I'm about ready to eat my dinner. Great response, by the way. Hey, the phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. As I said, coming up in the second hour, I'm going to be speaking to my friend Paul DeRigo. I've known Paul for a lot of years. He's one of those guys that's really walks the walk. He's with the Citizens for Humane Los Angeles, Chula, and he had an incredible Zoom call this week with the candidate who's running for county supervisor, Alex Villanueva. So we're going to talk to Paul in the second hour, about 12:30ish, and then I'm going to invite Alex Villanueva to come on the show, and I'll also invite his opponent to come on the show as well. Not so sure. Our cat looking at you and you looking at them. Do you think you both feel better at that point? According to this study in Science, it says yes. Give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. 866-870-KRLA. Let's go to Lisa in La Cañada. Hey, Lisa. Welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, Warren.
How are you today?
I wanted to answer your question. Yes, I have two rescues. One is a combination of family dog and class clown, and the other one is an old soul. So, and yes, I tell them everything, and if they could text, I'd be in deep trouble.
Oh, you're not going to, I was going to say, what are some of the secrets you tell your pets, but I guess you're not going to tell me, are you?
Oh, I tell them, especially if I've had a bad day, I will tell them who the person was, what I'd like to have happen to that person.
I talk to my dogs after I get off the air. Every week after I get off the radio show, I talk to them and say, you can't believe how hard it is working with my engineer, Alex. I don't tell Alex. I forgot Alex is listening right now. Sorry, Alex.
And that's the other reason. The other thing I wanted to mention. You said when you come home, and when I come home, I'm like, oh, good, I'll get to tell my dogs everything.
Exactly. Who are they going to tell? They're going to tell the schnauzer next door. They're going to tell the mailman. They're not going to tell anybody. They're the best. They keep secrets better than any other living thing. No doubt about it.
You're exactly right. I wanted just to mention something to you. Our golden retriever, Lily, who you've helped me with in the past, she has severe arthritis in her hips, and she has severe arthritis in her front. And 2 weeks ago, Saturday, got up, and she couldn't get up. She couldn't get up on front, back. Nothing would support her. This went on for about 3 days. Took her to the vet. He said, yes, it's progressed, blah, blah, blah. So we were making that horrible decision, and I said, I just want to give her every chance, and she's happier at home. So I also was looking for a vet that could help us out, and if we were going to have to euthanize or do it at home. I ran into a vet website, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is I read it, and it said, before you think about euthanasia, especially for older dogs with arthritis and severe hip and joint discomfort, have you tried everything, including NSAIDs, like, similar to doggy aspirin? And he said, many times I go to euthanize a dog, and in fact what they think is life-threatening is actually something that will cure itself, or you can help cure it.
Lisa, how old is this dog, Lisa? I hate to interrupt, but how old is this dog?
She's 14.
14 years old.
So I called our vet. I told him I wanted to try it. We tried it. We got a NSAID and gave it to her. She has a sensitive stomach, so he gave me one that he thought would be dental for her. Warren, literally 2 weeks later, today, woke up, got her up. I help her stand up. She walks out to the yard on her own. She pees on her own. She poops on her own. She's eating, drinking, just like she used to.
It's such an interesting call, because all the years I've been on the air, by the way, next month will be 44 years on the radio. Boy, am I an old guy. Anyway, here's the bottom line. Very often you hear me say, it's a good idea to, in fact, get a second opinion. Even on my own, for my own self. I mean, if I were to listen to some of the doctors when I was first diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and take this and take that and do this and take this painkiller, I don't take any painkillers. I do go for an infusion once a month, and I do take some medications, but I refuse to take any really heavy-duty pain pills. Just did not agree with me. So, yeah, you have to really question. As I said, no one's omnipotent. You got to question your vet just like you would. Great call, by the way. So, right after we get off the air, Lisa, I'm going to donate your gift. Are you going to give that dog a big hug and a kiss for me and all my listeners?
Thank you so much, and I'll do that.
You have a great day, and thank you so much for calling. What a great call. And it's like I say all the time, you have to question. You really have to question. I know we're having some trouble with our YouTube. It's going in, it's going out, it's going in. It means I could scratch my head. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. Let me take a break here, and then we're going to go to, we got Paul calling from El Segundo. We have David calling from Irvine, Tony from Oak Park. We got Gary calling from Chula Vista. We'll get to all your calls right after this. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Hey, listen, if you are lucky enough to be owned by a And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 866-870-KRLA. The phones are jamming, and we have to blow off some of my topics and get to some more phone calls here. Let me go to David in Irvine first, then we'll go to Paul next. Hey, David, welcome to the show.
Hey, Warren. I was curious how what Molly and Willie thought of First Class and what they thought of the Oregon coast.
Willie and Molly were not with me on this trip. Willie and Molly decided...
Warren.
I'm a swat. What? Hey, they take vacations without me?
Come on, what'd you do with them?
Okay, here's the deal. I am lucky enough and know enough people after all the years that when Denise and I travel together, we have a veterinary technician come into our home and stay all day long and all night long with Molly and Willie. So Molly and Willie pretty much say to me, go away again. Will you please? So actually, I'm lucky enough to be able to have someone come into the house and stay with Molly and Willie when we travel.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's what piece, plus the fact they have a camera, so I can check on them 24/7 with my camera. So, yeah, they had a great time.
Can they check on you?
They can check on me as well, I guess. They can. I don't do anything wrong. I don't cheat on my dogs. I'm telling you right now. I'm loyal. Yeah, man, they busted me for petting another. Actually, when I was on this trip, I bumped into a 9-month-old Leonberger. It's a beautiful dog. For those people who don't know what it looks like, it's kind of like a brown terrier, Saint Bernard. Just a beautiful dog. Worked with them in Europe, so I was great to bump into one of those. So yeah, it's yeah, it's kind of a mutual understanding, David. We get along, they get along. I can go where I want, they go where they want. It's kind of an open relationship. Any other questions for me, David, about my personal life?
No, it's just a question about how you treat your dogs.
I treat them better than I treat myself. Anyway, what kind of pets do you have, David?
I have a 13-year-old beagle, Jack Russell mix, and a 13-year-old cat.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you I'm going to send you a T-shirt as well. I'm like your attitude. No, I'm going to send you a T-shirt. Yeah, it's listen, Heather is my person that takes care of Molly and Willie, and I'm so lucky. I know it's hard for people. People don't go away, but I wouldn't go away. Do you know for the 13 years I had a second home in Sedona, Arizona, Denise and I never traveled, never went. I lived 90 miles from the Grand Canyon. I've never been there because I could not find someone I trusted to leave at that point Cisco and Schuyler with. So the bottom line is I'm very, very lucky, consider myself incredibly lucky to have a vet tech that comes into my house to take care of Molly and Willie. I wish we could all have one. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. Let's go to Paul in El Segundo. Hey, Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Warren?
How's everything in beautiful El Segundo today?
Well, now I'm in West LA. I was in El Segundo, and it was absolutely beautiful. Yeah. It was a great experience.
So, what can I do for you today, Paul?
Well, first of all, thank you. I think it's been 30 years I've been listening to you, so I just want to thank you for such a great radio show. I heard what you said earlier, and I messaged Sheriff Villanueva, and he said it would be okay for me to share his contact information with you to set up that interview or whatever you want to do. So, if you hold me on, I'll give you his number, and he said he'd be happy to talk to you.
Oh, great. I will hold you. I want to make sure I have the right. I do have a number. I want to make sure I have the right number. So after we're done, I'll put you on hold, and you can hook up with Suzette, and she'll get the number for me, okay?
Yeah, sure. And then I just wanted to quickly tell you I have a 4-year-old Great Dane, a 10-year-old German Shepherd, but I want to talk about the middle dog, which is Cubby, just a miracle rescue. In a very bad situation. I heard about her, very bad. She was left outside all the time. She was basically bought as an alarm system to stay outside up in Apple Valley, which is like 110 during the day and 30 at night, and never went inside. She was left outside all the time. They would just split the bag of food open and throw it out on the porch. So when she came to us, she was actually too fat. And she would escape under the chain link fence every day and go to one of my employees' sister's house every day. Every day to the point that she had scratches all over her nose and forehead from climbing under that chain link fence. So the situation came to me. I drew up basically a letter of relinquishment of animal impromptu, went up, made the woman sign the paper where I said I would stick the government on her. She gave me the dog. And ever since, Cubby has just been the absolute miracle for us. If it wasn't for her, I would probably have had a heart attack 2 years earlier than I did. But she's just a miracle, so wonderful.
You know, Paul, you hit the nail. You hit the nail on the head. Bottom line is, when you save a dog's life, they know it and they pay you back every single day for the rest of theirs. It's just that simple.
We were driving one day, maybe 6 months after I got her, 4 months after we got her. I'm driving in the car. I've got the XM radio on a news channel that always gets me excited and nervous because the news is always so bad. And I swear to my grandfather, she felt it. She jumped from the back of the truck, landed in the dashboard, turned the radio off, and then just kind of turned her head and looked at me like, "I got you."
And people think Omic sent you. Imagine that, Paul. Anyway, great, Paul. Great call. You want a T-shirt? You want some food? What do you want, Paul?
Please donate whatever you would give to somebody who needs some food or needs some clothing.
I will absolutely donate, but I'm not going to let you get away without getting a T-shirt. So I'm putting you on hold. You're getting a T-shirt as well, and I will donate the other gift to a local rescue. And great call, by the way. The phone number 866-870-KRLA 866-870-5752. Gary, I'm going to get to your call in Chula Vista. Great question, by the way, about the Cane Corso and the Dogo de Argentino. We'll get to Ann in Los Angeles. We'll get to Tony as well. 866-870-KRLA. The phone number. 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. It's time for me to talk to you a little bit about my own Hugs and Kisses vitamin mineral supplement treats, and here's why. If you want And we are back on the Pet Show. Let me see if I can get to Gary real quick. Then we're going to break for the top of the hour. When we come back, Ann and Tony, Paul, you'll be my first callers. But let me go to Gary right now. Hey, Gary.
Hi, Warren. Good morning. Listen,
I see
in
from
my
your
neighborhood, I've noticed that there has been an appearance of the Cane Corso and Dogo Argentino dogs. They're big. I haven't ever seen a behavioral problem, but they look like aggressive dogs, and I've seen other dogs react to them in an aggressive way. I'd just like to know what we know about these dogs. Are they good family dogs or house dogs, or where have they been? Why has there been a sudden appearance?
The fact that all of a sudden the Cane Corso and the Dogo de Argentina, they're great dogs, fabulous dogs, by the way. They were used as guard dogs. They were used as family dogs. They were used as sheep protectors as well. And they were from Italy originally, the Cane Corso. So here's the bottom line. Okay, they're amazing dogs, but they're not the right dogs for a novice dog person. In other words, it should be someone who's lived with dogs before, who understands dogs, who really understands the breed, and really gets involved with people involved with the breed, and then he can make a decision based on that.
Are they good at a dog park? Do they relate well to other dogs?
It depends on the individual dog. I hate to make those. I got to break. I hate to make. You know what? Let me put you on hold. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to put you on hold. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit further about the Cane Corso and the Dogo de Argentino. The phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Great time to give me a call. We'll take a quick break, then right back to your phone calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show.
Eckstein, the man for your pets. We tried to stumble
And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Great time to give me a call if you want to find out why your dog is pulling, jumping, barking, your cat's not using the litter box, keeping you up at night, doesn't get along with the new cat that came into the household. That's what this show does. We help you resolve any issues that you might be having with your dog or cat's behavior, or vice versa. Great time to give me a call. And by the way, if you happen to be new to the Pet Show, if you call in and get to talk to me live, a fabulous gift will be on its way for your dog or cat. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. I want to talk about barrier of frustration. Before I do that, we were speaking to Gary before the break. Gary, you still with me?
Still here.
Okay, Gary was asking me about the breed, the Cane Corso and the dog de Argentino, and if that was if they were great dogs. Yeah, they're fabulous dogs, but they're not the breed for everyone. Sometimes they can be assertive. Now, that being said, when I was stationed in Europe, and the Cane Corso is an Italian breed originally, it goes back to Roman times. They can be protective, and very often they're used for protective purposes. But they're one of those giant breeds that, if socialized properly and trained properly, they understand children and they live with children. They're great family dogs. Not for everyone. So it's not the type of dog I would be advising for a person that's never lived with a large dog before. And also, there are certain breeds of dogs, because of their look, do intimidate other dogs, and that's why the other dogs are reacting to them. So here's the bottom line. Are they great dogs? That makes sense. Are they great dogs? The answer is absolutely yes. Positively, yes. Should most people own them? The answer is absolutely not. All depends on how much knowledge you have, how much time you're going to put in, how much socialization you're going to put in, how much exposure you're going to put in, how much training you're going to be putting in. And you need to work with someone, if you're not a professional, someone who really understands the breed. But again, it's like most breeds, just because they're a little bit bigger and can be a little bit more assertive, it's really important that it's, and let me just say this again carefully, it's not the right breed for everybody out there.
That's a great answer. That tells me everything I need to know. Thank you so much.
Gary, listen, I appreciate that. Gary, don't go in. I'm going to put you on hold. I'm sending you a T-shirt. Boy, am I giving away a lot of T-shirts. Hey, by the way, those T-shirts that say none of my friends walk upright, if you'd like to purchase one, I wish you would, because every penny goes directly to the Hugs and Kisses animalfund.org, which you should be donating to anyway. That's my organization that helps save thousands, because we donate money to all the small mom and pops all across America and Canada, groups you've never heard of with 3, 4, 5 people having a white elephant sale to save 15 animals. Those are the people we help. So check out hugsandkissesanimalfund.org or go to my website, thepetshow.com, and get one of those great T-shirts. 866-870-KRLA. You guys bear with me for a second. I will get to you, I promise. Tony, I will get to you. Ann, I will get to you. Toby as well. I do have an interview coming up in about a half hour. I'll do that as well. But I want to talk to you about that barrier of frustration, because I get a lot of calls about it. Something I put together. So let me just kind of read it. I don't often read on the air, but let me do this. In a dog's dreamland, dogs would be free to roam and go greet as many people and other dogs as they want, and everyone would be friends. In a real-life scenario, though, things are very different. Dogs are walked on leashes to keep everyone safe and out of trouble. This restriction, though, may lead to what's known as barrier frustration. Barrier frustration takes place in predisposed dogs who are eager to meet every single dog they see, but are restrained by a leash. The result is a big barking explosion, a dog's version of a toddler tantrum that may make your dog seem aggressive. Yet those who know your dog well know for a fact that your dog is the friendliest dog on earth, who plays well at the dog park and eager to make friends. It's that barrier of frustration that often causes that situation. So I want you to understand that as well. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. That is the way to get through. Let me take another phone call right now. Let's go to Oak Park and Tony. Hey, Tony, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Before.
What's up?
Actually, a year ago when I adopted a Doberman. He is amazing. I have 5 fabulous rescue dogs.
Oh, bless you for that,
Tony.
The
reason that I'm calling today is that one of my Chihuahuas, the Doberman thinks he's a Chihuahua, but one of my Chihuahuas, and she's always been like the scout or whatever, she's an amazing dog, but all of a sudden she's afraid of something, and I don't know what. she's like, she stays up in the bedroom, and she'll come downstairs and then runs back up to the bedroom. And, you know, she's the scout from the bedroom. She looks outside. But she's nervous. I don't know what.
Tony, how old is this dog?
She's 8.
She's 8 years old. And
she has a brother.
Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is she used to be all over the place, but now she kind of just wants to stay upstairs.
Right.
Okay, have you noticed any other changes with her in terms of appetite or going outside? Any other changes, the way she gets along with the other dogs or anything?
No, and I thought, first of all, it was one of the dogs. But no, she sleeps butt to butt with the
okay.
Actually,
I want you to... I want you to think real carefully. Have you made any changes whatsoever in your house? Any changes?
No.
Hours, scheduling,
No.
food, anything?
No.
Okay, so the first thing I would do, whenever you have a dog that all of a sudden changes its behavior, the first thing you want to do is make sure there's no physiological reason for it. So an examination right off the bat.
I took her to the vet.
And what did the vet say?
They saw nothing.
Well, they saw nothing, but what did they say? But they saw nothing. What did they say?
What did you just say?
You know, the vet said he didn't see anything, but what did the vet say to do? What did the vet say the problem is?
She didn't see a problem because Nani was acting the same way she always does.
But you explained to her the problem you're having at home.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she says, I don't see it. I mean, she doesn't see it because she's... And when I take her and her brother and the Doberman to the dog park, she's the same dog.
So everything that was once one way, and she was fine with everything, recently changed. So if there's nothing physiologically wrong with the dog, if your vet's giving you a clean bill of health, and I don't know how anyone can give a total clean bill of health, but if your vet is giving you a clean bill of health, I have to guess that there's something going on in terms of your home. Either a relationship with the other dog, something she's hearing outside, something she's smelling outside, something you tracked in with your foot, something made the change, if there's no physical reason. My first impression when I saw you come up on the screen was, well, maybe it's an older dog, maybe she's losing her vision, maybe she's losing her ability to hear the same way she heard in the past. All things that should be checked. But the bottom line is, if the vet's saying she's healthy, she's reacting normally everywhere but your home, then we know what the problem is. The problem is something in the home.
She had gotten fleas.
Yeah. But you took care of that, right? Does she still have fleas?
Of course. No more fleas.
No more fleas. Okay, but fleas can change a dog's behavior too. Make them not feel good. It can make them, fleas can make them a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Their blood change, their blood cells change a little bit. So fleas can make them anemic. A lot of things fleas can, plus they're uncomfortable, plus it can change a dog's personality. If you just think about you itching and scratching all the time. I think at this point what I would do is try to, when she's reacting that way, is try to kind of reintroduce her to other areas of the house rather than let her kind of hang out in that one position, because as long as she's hanging out in that one position, she's getting reinforced with that behavior. So that would be my advice at this point.
Okay.
All righty. Plus the fact I'm also going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you. What do I want to send you? I am going to send you
hugs and kisses would be nice.
On its way. I'm putting you on hold, and hugs and kisses on its way to you. I appreciate that phone call. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number, 866-870-5752. I know we're still having trouble with our YouTube. Technical stuff, Technical. 866-870-5752, 866-870-KRLA. That is the way to get through to the Pet Show. We are going right now. Let's go to Ann in Los Angeles. Hey, Ann, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hello. I have a 2-year-old male cat, and he used his litter box religiously. Now he won't use it. He'll find some place in the house to go to the bathroom.
Now, when you say go to the bathroom, is he peeing and pooping outside the litter box?
His litter. I'm sorry.
He
uses his litter box not at all, and somewhere in the house he'll do his business.
Okay, so he's peeing and he's pooping both outside of the litter box.
Right.
And prior to that, he was using the litter box consistently.
Yes.
So
and I change the litter box every day.
Okay. And that's what you've always done?
Yes.
Okay. Here's my gut reaction on what's going on. Very often, there's several different things that can take a cat that was consistently using its litter box and stop the cat from doing that. One of the things is if the cat went into the litter box and for whatever reason it hurt him when he peed, maybe there was some bladder or some urine, some kidney problem, if it hurt him when he urinated, if he was constipated or had diarrhea and his poop hurt him when he was going to the bathroom, or if it smelled entirely different. Those are things that are enough to keep a cat out of the litter box. So what I would do at this point is, number one, and nothing else has changed. I'm assuming the cat's healthy. I'm assuming there's no problem. What I would do at this point, rather than constantly changing the litter box, I would put down a second litter box a few feet away from the first litter box, and then in the areas where the cat has previously gone, make sure you clean those up thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, with a stain and odor remover made specifically for dogs and cats. Nothing that contains ammonia. You want something with enzymes. You can find out all the different places the cat has gone. You can get one of those black lights, shine it at night. That will be indicative of where the dog peed or pooped. Clean it up. Put a little bit of his kibble, 1 or 2 pieces of his kibble in those areas. That second litter box goes down. My only thing at this point is that I'm not sure if there's not something physically going on with the cat. If he's not having a urinary tract infection, if he's not going to the bathroom properly, if he has, so I think
his poop is very soft.
Well, then that's part of it. Then it may be soft. It's different. Anytime that that he goes to the bathroom and the poop is different on a consistent level, then something's not right. He might not be digesting his food the same way. Did you change his food by any chance?
I changed his food to dry food Friskies.
How long ago?
How long ago? Well, I would say about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, and when did this problem? When did? Okay, but no, that doesn't mean it. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe you see, you're changing too many things, and the more things you change, the more difficult it is for me or your vet to resolve it. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to send you some Lucy pet food for your cat. Okay, I want to make sure he's getting the right food. But I also think a quick call to your vet at this point, maybe taking a stool specimen into the vet, maybe there's some type of parasite, something is going on. Because in other words, there's not another cat in the house that's causing the cat to run out. There's nothing changing in your behavior. You're telling me nothing changed in the household whatsoever. The only change then that can be possible is, number one, is you brought in a scent from outside, he's hearing something we didn't hear, or the fact that it's painful for him to urinate in the litter box or defecate in the litter box, causing him to go outside the litter box.
He does want to go outside, but I don't let him go outside because of the fleas.
Sure. When was the last time he was outside?
Oh, about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, here's what. Let me go back. So you got to give me all the info. Here's what I'm. Let me go back a little bit. Then I got to take a break. In that new litter box that you bring in that new litter box. On the bottom of the litter box, put just a little bit of litter. But on top of that litter, go out into the yard, dig up some dirt and grass in the yard, put that in the litter box. And then eventually you can get rid of it again. But I think that will encourage him to go. But I still want you to have him checked by a vet. I think that's going to make a difference for you. Anyway, I got to move on. I'm putting you on hold. We're sending you some Lucy pet food for your cat. There's always a reason. By the way, I got some lines open, pretty rare on the Pet Show. I have Hugs and Kisses to give away. I have Orthocid Gold to give away. I have copies of my best-selling books to give away. I got Lucy pet food to give away, all natural herbal flea spray. Speaking about fleas, this is going to be a horrible, horrible flea season, 24/7, 365 days a year. I say season. The whole year is the season now. I got No Scoot. I have Allergy Aid. I got, as I said, herbal flea spray, anti-lick paw spray. Everyone that calls in will get a great gift. The phone number, 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. Quick break, then I'll get right back to your phone calls. Speaking about And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number 866-870-KRLA. Just a reminder, I always run out of time on the weekend. So if you're not following me in my social media, you should be following me. If you want to follow my Facebook page, where I do post a lot of information, it's facebook.com/WarrenPetTalk. Facebook.com/WarrenPetTalk. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I do share info there as well. Instagram at Warren Eckstein. And I share I just put some new videos up yesterday. A lot of videos on my YouTube channel. You should subscribe. It's free. Lots of information, lots of fun stuff. Check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Let's go to Toby in Studio City. Hey, Toby, welcome to the show. Hi, Toby.
Love your show. We have a mini Australian mini shepherd who is extremely territorial and just a great dog overall, but very territorial. And the situation is with our mail delivery. And I figured I'd bring this up because this might be good information for other listeners who have aggressive dogs with mail delivery, which I'm sure never happens. But with us, it has ballooned into a scenario, and what happened was our longtime mail carrier was on vacation. He gets a lot of vacation, so we get a lot of substitute mail carriers. Our fault, our dog got out, just a lapse of attention, and charged this substitute carrier, got within about 10 feet, barking vigorously in a threatening way, did not get any closer, did not physically bite or anything of that nature. Next day, I didn't get any mail. Day after that, I didn't get any mail. And so I saw my mail carrier a couple days later. He had my mail in his truck and wouldn't deliver it to me. He says, you have to go to the office and talk to the supervisor. I talked to the supervisor, and evidently I got my one chance. I had to sign a letter from the post office saying, if this happens again, my delivery will be suspended, period, for life. And my only options would be to get a post office box or a change of address and get it forwarded. And this letter, I'm not sure if it's a standard USPS. There's no form number, but it is from the postmaster, station master of my locality here. And I signed it, and then my mail resumed. And so I just wanted to pass that on and ask if you've heard of this scenario happening with anybody else.
Absolutely. This is such a common problem. First of all, your Australian Shepherd. Here, let me explain the Australian. I gave the first Australian Shepherd in America its obedience title, so I'm very familiar with the breed. Now they have the miniature Aussies, okay, which is a relatively small dog. It's a herding breed. So what they may do is they may run up to you and they may bark and growl and look like the Armageddon's coming, but that usually doesn't mean that a bite's going to follow. They're a herding breed. It's a different ballgame. I understand the mailman. There's a lot of people out there that let their dogs run loose, large dogs run loose, and things like this happen. My understanding in the past has been that if it were a consistent problem, if it happened twice, 3 times, or 4 times, then the post office would take some action. This was a one-time situation. Your dog got out, like their dogs never got out. Bottom line, the dog didn't bite anybody. He menaced the guy a little bit. The guy got scared, got back, and whatever he did, I don't see any reason why this was a major problem prior to the fact, well, because of the fact that it only happened this one time. But remember, here's why dogs go after mailmen, all right? Someone comes to your house, they make a lot of noise, the dog barks, and the mailman walks away or runs away. What does that mean? That means the dog just did its job. In other words, every time the dog barks and the mailman runs away, the dog says, hey, I won, I did what I was supposed to do. It reinforces the dog's behavior. So very often in the past, what I've done, and I've worked some amazing mailmen. I'm a big fan of people that deliver mail. So here's the bottom line. What I've done in the past is I've actually worked with people and had them introduce, if the mailman's willing to work with you, introduce their dog to the mail carrier in their place, give him some stuff to give to the dog so he could establish a relationship with the dog. Not every mailman's going to want to do that. I'm sorry you had to go through all this rigmarole, but it just doesn't make sense to me. The dog didn't hurt anybody. The dog chased someone. What about the stray dogs on the street? What happens to them when they go after a mail guy? What happens to the stray dogs? You know,
Right.
I'm not sticking out. I'm sticking up for the mailman too. I mean, your dog did get out, but the dog did nothing other than menace the guy a little bit. And my feeling would be, you know what, get over it. I had so many friends that work in the post office for years, and the bottom line is this is one of the things that happens, and you have to know how to deal with it, and that's not the right way. Anyway, my heart breaks for you. There's no reason in the world that you have to go pick up your mail, but now they're going to deliver it back to you, right?
Yeah, we got it back started, and there's been no incidents. This was like 6 months ago.
And your dog's
by the way, what you said is it's so true what you say, because we had a pesticide, come spray the house, and he was a regular guy for a few months, every 2 months, and he volunteered, hey, give me some dog, something to give the dog a treat, and of his own volition, and the dog friended with the person. Our mailman, on the other hand, probably has a lot of negative experiences, will not even engage in that kind of
I'm sure, sticking up for the mailman for a second, I'm sure that on his route every single day, not everyone is concerned about their dog as you are. Your dog just happened to break out this one time. I'm sure there are people in your neighborhood that let their dogs run loose. Their dogs are out all of the time. So I don't know. But the bottom line is that I really feel that they went a little too far in your situation. Had this occurred maybe twice or maybe 3 times, then the letter would have been necessary. At this point, I don't feel it was. I think they overreacted at this point.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The only one other little factoid relevant to this is, and I posed the question, okay, so, our dog's 9 years old, obviously, ain't going to be here forever. But what happens when that dog, we don't have that dog anymore? Okay, you can let them know. But what if we get another dog? And it doesn't matter. The second incident with even a new dog would trigger our lifetime suspension, according to this post office supervisor. So, anyway, it's
interesting. Sometimes people with a little power overdo it. Sometimes people with a little authority overdo it. I'm only hearing your side of the story, so I'm not making a judgment here. But sometimes, if you give someone a little bit too much, I would have had, what should have been done is I would have had maybe the supervisor or the mail person have a conversation with you, say, this happened and you apologize. I'm sorry it happened. It won't happen again. It's the only time it ever happened. My dog got out. It's not going to happen again. Bottom line is that, and that should have been a discussion, not some type of action taken at this point. I don't understand why they did that, but they did. A great call, by the way.
Totally agree.
You give that dog a big hug and a kiss. Oh, no, don't go anywhere, Tom. I'm going to put you on hold, and I am going to send you some hugs and kisses treats for your lovely little Australian Shepherd. What is with everybody? Is this world going absolutely crazy? It's serious. Listen, we're going to take a break. When we come back, okay, I'm going to be speaking to Paul DeRigo. Paul DeRigo is with Citizens for Humane Los Angeles. He had a Zoom call this week with Alex Villanova, who was the ex-sheriff here in the county of Los Angeles. And basically what they were trying to do is get his opinion on what goes on with the dogs and whatever. So I'm going to be speaking to Paul directly. And as always, anyone from the other side is invited to call in as well. But not that Paul's on his side. Paul's going to interview the other person. But he had this Zoom call, and it was quite interesting. A lot of information came out. So I'm going to speak to Paul coming up in just about 3 or 4 minutes. And after we speak to Paul, if you want to comment on it, feel free. Phone number here, 866-870-KRLA. A quick break, then right back. We'll get right to Paul after this. Listen. You hear me talk about Delta Rescue every single week. Why? Because this is an organization And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Great time to give me a call. The phone number 866-870-KRLA. But right now, joining me on the Pet Show is my friend Paul DeRigo. Paul is with Citizens for Humane Los Angeles. Paul, are you with me?
Yes. Hey, Warren. Thanks.
Do I hear dogs in the background? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm over at the Pasadena Home Show.
Oh, okay. So that's what I'm hearing. So before we get into exactly the Zoom call that you guys had this week, which, by the way, I found very interesting, and I'm looking forward to hearing the other side as well. But tell us a little bit about Chula. What is Chula all about?
Well, Chula started about 15 years ago with Michael Bell and I, where we would hear a lot of issues from the community, and when we would take a side and then go, later we'd find out the truth and go, oh my God, that's not what happened. I'm so embarrassed. So I finally said, that's enough of that. I now say anything I post on Chula, the commitment is that I researched it and it has truth. And if not, you tell me and I'll change it, but you have to show me. And that's the premise, the underlying premise. So we look for truth and we look for validity in stories and we hold people accountable to that. And we're advocates for animal advocacy. We want the community to do better, and we want our politicians to do better.
So, in other words, if people wanted to find out more about Chula, where would they go?
Oh, Facebook. It's called Chula, Citizens for Humane Los Angeles, and you'll see my mug and Michael Bell's mug on there. And then we list a lot of either videos or documents in the documents folder. We've done an expose on Los Angeles Animal Services. We've raised money. We've done a lot of different things.
All right, so let me go over the Zoom call. I was unaware. I was on with Radio America during the Zoom call, but you had a Zoom meeting this week with former Los Angeles County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, and it was an interesting call. I missed it, but you sent me the recording, and I was able to listen to it. I found it really, really interesting and really kind of informative at the same time. So I heard part of it talking about the city of Los Angeles and the county animal control working with each other. Is that not the case now? What is I heard the term MOV. What is that all about?
MOV, I think it was MOU, which is Memorandum of Understanding. Yeah, it's a contract of how they should operate, a memorandum of understanding. So it's really just a contract. It's like, here's what we'll do, you do this, we do that. And the county and the city are supposed to have a collaborative contract with animal control. Evidently, they don't, or it's not enforced, or that's what Alex was trying to point out, is that those things are already in place. There's just no management or will in the government to actually hold them forward for whatever reasons.
And so, in other words, they're not working as closely together as they probably should be or could be.
Correct. And especially when you see the situation, for a specific example, when the city allowed a homeless man to get a breeder's permit on Skid Row, the county could come in, and by the way, you've heard about the Skid Row incidents with those dogs in cages, direct sunlight,
and
no
water. And being sold by those people without homes, being sold to raise money for drugs,
Right, not enforced by LA Animal Services. So I asked Alex, can county come in and enforce it? And he said, yes. I said, that's what we need. If they're not going to do their job, we need the county, who actually is supposed to be usurping over cities, to go in and do the right thing, follow the law, and take care of situations like that. So that would be an MOU, and it's already in place, and Alex is saying he's going to enforce that.
All right, so the other thing I heard that was kind of interesting as well is that very often there are positions where the person retires or leaves for whatever reason, but they don't fulfill those positions. They don't get someone else to take those positions. And it was salary savings. I heard the term salary savings, which I really think it's important for the listener to understand what that's all about.
Yeah, in politics, there always seems to be, where can I get money to go do these other things? When we, as a citizen, vote on a budget or agree to a budget or voice our concerns about a budget, we expect that to be held true. When you take away positions, like LA Animal Services is down a ton of positions, it's already been budgeted. They already can hire them. But again, for whatever reasons, you can say management, COVID, whatever, they're not fulfilling those positions. Thus, the city doesn't have to pay. They can allocate that money somewhere else and be, well, sorry, we don't have people to bring in. We don't have the resources in HR to bring these people in to review their resumes. There's a big roadblock set up. I wish I could say more about the cog of politics, but that's basically, in a nutshell, how it works, reallocating money to do other purposes with it.
Now, here's the canary in the coal mine, okay?
Yeah.
This is the big one. I get this more than anyone. Euthanasia. We're all hoping, we all want no-kill shelters. And I've been on the board of directors for the oldest no-kill probably in the country for 30-some odd years, the Bidewee Home back on the East Coast. So incredible organization, by the way. Right. So my question is, and I find this kind of interesting, you guys actually talking about describing euthanasia levels and what the definition of no-kill really means. And I want you to spend a couple of seconds and really explain to the audience, because we hear no-kill, we're no-kill. What does no-kill really mean, and what exactly are we doing to get to that no-kill point here in Los Angeles?
God, that is the question of the ages, because the name no-kill sounds like the thing, right? It's the chalice in the sky. No-kill. We're not killing animals. A no-kill is a measure of metrics, saying that if you don't kill up to over 90%, you can declare yourself a no-kill shelter. The problem with the metric and measuring it that way, dogs suddenly become aggressive. Oh, that doesn't count towards the metric. Oh, dogs suddenly become sick. Well, he's only sneezing. Well, that's sick. Sorry, you got to take him out of the metric. You euthanize him for being sick, but that doesn't go against oh, look at us. Now we have a 95%, save rate. That's the corruption, you would say, of the no-kill metric. The ideal is no adoptable dog should be euthanized. I think we can all get on board on that.
Sure. Okay. I can't imagine anyone involved with animals not wanting to get on board with a 100% no-kill any healthy animals.
Right. But there are the cases of the animal comes in injured or too sick,
sure,
and it's suffering.
Sure.
There's that case. I think we could all again agree. The animal comes in 2 broken legs, broken pelvis. It's going to cost $25,000. He's in pain. We can put him on meds temporarily, but this poor thing, that's probably a valid use. The aggression thing, you have 2 things here with aggression. If a guy like you with your skill set could handle most of those dogs, the public can't, and the public will sue, and the city is liable. So they have to be very cautious about aggressive animals. The way around that is they sign a waiver. People will sign a waiver. Look, here is the dog's behavior. This is what we've noticed. You sign this waiver, we will release the dog to you. But be advised, it has a bite history. Okay, most of those dogs get red listed because they don't want to deal with that. So then you say, okay, well, that doesn't count towards the metric. Okay, look at us. Now we're 96% save rate. Donate money to us. And that's been Best Friends' mantra when they came into our city and said, we're going to get to no kill. But you know what part of the idea of Best Friends and Cal Animals is? Part of the mantra for no kill is to leave the animal on the street. I find that reprehensible.
Yeah. I heard part of the conversation. Can you hang on if I take a break, can you hang on for a while, Paul?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Let's put Paul. Let me put Paul on hold, and let me take a commercial break here. Let me come back to Paul because a lot of more information I want to talk about. I want to talk about whether or not the sheriff's department ever had or does have an animal rescue task force. I was a peace officer in the state of New York for many, many years, going out investigating animal abuse, and the abuse we took was unbelievable. I want to ask him about that. Then a horrible story about drugs being smuggled into the United States in the bodies of animals, and I want to ask him about wildlife. What happens to wildlife in Los Angeles as well if they're found? So let me take a quick break here. Then we'll get back to Paul DeRigo. We'll talk more about the shelter situation and what no kill's all about right here on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is the Pet Show. And we are back on the Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Speaking to my friend Paul DeRigo from Citizens for Humane Los Angeles. Chula, I'll give you the information on that again later. I'm so glad you're with me today, Paul, because I think there's so much information that has to come out on all sides. And this show's open to everyone who wants it. If people want to call in tomorrow, send me emails, it's open to everyone. So a couple of things I want to ask you about, okay? Number one, and I know that Alex was the sheriff for the county, and he did mention something about at one point there was or there is there such a thing as the Sheriff's Animal Rescue Task Force?
There is a Los Angeles Rescue Task Force. I don't know that the county has one besides an Animal Cruelty Task Force. One would be for rescuing animals in like the gullies and ditches or mountains or in wherever that you need a special crew to go out and get, compared to investigating cases of abuse, fighting, and so forth.
Yeah, and in other words, I know, for example, and again, as a peace officer in New York, I was involved with breaking up many more than I want to talk about abusive situations with
I don't know how you did it, Warren. I mean, I don't know if I could do it. I'd probably lose it, but that's skill set.
Some people, Paul, some people say I did lose it, but anyway, the bottom line is that I would go in there and I'd go in and I'd break up these dog fights in the South Bronx, and I'd bring out these pit bulls with chain collars that the skin is grown, just horrible situations. And the bottom line is, very often I would work with the either whether it be the New York City Police Department, the Nassau County Police Department, Suffolk, Connecticut, wherever I was working. And very often they were really, really helpful in situations. In one specific situation, they weren't so helpful, but they were really helpful in this situation. So I'm wondering if the Sheriff's Department and the LAPD, if they do in fact work closely, real closely with the animal organizations here in Southern California.
Well, Los Angeles Animal Cruelty Task Force used to. There was an animal control officer who was assigned to the task force, but because of this defund police movement, we've lost that. So we right now can't really investigate hardcore crimes in Los Angeles without the task force. You'll have an officer maybe, and that's probably why you see more like poor rescues or people with a couple more animals over their limit getting busted or talked about. But it's really a horrid thing to understand. Now we don't have that service.
I don't think, Paul. I don't think people understand the involvement and how many people are involved. They just busted one of the major players for the Department of Defense for a dogfighting ring.
Oh, jeez.
I posted it on my Facebook page if anyone wants to read it. This is the advisor to one of the major people at the Department of Defense just busted for a dog fighting ring. They found all the kinds of crazy stuff. So I think it's really important that shelters, everyone should work together. I mean, we try to do this, and it's always going to have this person or that person. But can you imagine if the law enforcement, the shelters, the rescues, and everyone was on the same page, how many more animals would be better off about it, Paul?
Well, that's what Alex was saying, and that's what we kind of articulated back to Alex, is even out of that meeting that you heard, I didn't know about this case about the drugs coming over from the cartels with sewn inside the animals. I didn't know that. Alex didn't know that, but this lawyer presented it. I don't want to say her name, but she presented and she has cogent information and facts about that. Well, no wonder why fentanyl keeps coming over across the border. Like, how's it getting in here? Oh my God, they're literally sewing it into animals' intestines or stomachs, and then they cut them open and they leave them to die, cut open, so they can take out the drugs. Okay, well, that's good for somebody to know about. So that would be, like, to your point, a collaborative between DEA, animal cruelty, ag, and county ag, agricultural, to investigate that. And we can make a real difference if they did collaborate with things like that. And now that it's brought out, we have to champion that point through.
It's interesting, Paul, that you brought that up. And here's a situation that I was involved with that a lot of people, this might be a little much for people to hear. But prior to all this, with the fentanyl and everything, which is a horror, many years ago, I'm talking many years ago, when I first got back from overseas, there was an investigation into how heroin was getting in from some southeastern countries into the United States. And what they found is that, I don't know if I want to go there. What they found in not only in human bodies but in animal bodies, they would take the blood out and embalm them with heroin and other items. And when these bodies came back to the United States, they would, whoever had they working whatever plant, would remove this and separate the drug, and it would be made for street level. So this is not, the horror stories are always going to be there. But if everyone worked together, what a difference we can make. And I'm so glad, Paul, and I got to move on, but I'm so glad and we're going to talk again. I'm so glad we had the opportunity. I'm so glad you invited me to listen to the conversation between you and Alex. And I want to hear the conversation between everyone involved that's running for the county. I think that's real important. But I think the information you guys got out was tremendous.
And Warren, again, that was my idea, to bring all these people. We had lawyers, animal controls, volunteers, and rescues all in that meeting. It was a closed meeting because I wanted it to be succinct, because we need to get to the points. We don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to also establish a relationship with Alex and say, will you promise to have a liaison with county? And he said, yes, I want that, because the citizens have a right to bring that forward to their leadership, and I need that. It helps me do my job better.
So let me...
I only have... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I only had two asks before we leave, if I can do that before we cut off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, one is, I know you're buddies with Joey, and I met him at the Dodger Stadium. Can we please get an adoption event with the Kings?
I'll run it by my buddy. I'll run it by Joey. I'm sure he'll do something.
Okay, and everybody who's listening to the show, it's so great to hear people who are all passionate about animals. Please consider adopting or fostering from the shelters. And if they want,
did you post the interview with Alex on your Facebook page?
No, it's a private.
Okay, so we didn't do that. Okay, but I think you should check out Chula's Facebook page as well. I think that's important. And just to end this, I hope they decide to do an adoption event with the Kings. But I got to tell you, having trained all the dogs for the Islanders, I don't.
Yeah.
And this is when the Islanders, with Jude Druin, Clark Gillies, they were all winning every single year. I was at their victory parades on Hempstead Turnpike on Long Island when they were all winning. So, but if the Kings do an adoption event and Joey's involved, you can rest assured. Hey, Paul, thanks so much. Come on whenever. I appreciate it. Keep me posted and let me know what's going on. All right.
You got it. Thanks as always, Warren.
You have a great day. Take care, Paul. Great guy, really involved with working, walks the walk. Let me take a break here, then we'll get back, see if we have some time for some more calls. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. And if you want to respond to what Paul said, you can go to my Facebook page. You can respond there, on my Instagram page, and anyone who wants to respond is more than welcome. 866-870-KRLA, the phone number. We'll be right back on Warren Eckstein. And we are back on the Pet Show. Here's the deal. I could take a phone call, but I only got like a minute and a half left. So Sandy, Marsha, anyone out there, if you have questions, you know when I get off the air here, I do my national and Canadian show. Same type of show. I give away the same gifts. I'm not going to be doing an interview on that show, so I have more time for your calls. And by the way, Los Angeles callers will be first because the show starts at 5 after. You can start calling like at 1 o'clock. So write this number down. You can start calling in exactly 1 minute, 1 minute and a half. As I said, it's the same type of show. It's Radio America, Armed Forces Radio, goes all over the U.S., all over Canada, but it's the same type of show. So you have questions or comments, give me a call there. Write this number down. You can start calling in about a minute. The phone number, 877-725-8255. It's also toll free, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Again, let me remind you, if you want more information, if you want to follow me, check out my Facebook. It's facebook.com/Warren Pet Talk. My YouTube channel, which I share a lot of info there, is YouTube, youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. Instagram the same, Instagram @Warren Eckstein as well. Till next week, give all your pets a big hug and a kiss for you, one between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you. Thank you for listening to The Pet Show.